Hey, this is Gary K. We're here live on the show floor of the DSE 2022 show, the first DSE event since 2019. And I'm here with Lori Anderson, who is the president of the International Sign Association, right? Did I get that right?
Great to be here. Yes, you got it right.
I
Just
did.
right.
And that's signs.org. We're going to talk about that this entire time, so don't go to the website yet. I want you to do it at the end. So International Sign Association, y'all are the official association for all the companies like Signs Now, that companies like that Kinko's, everybody who makes physical static signs, right?
How I like to describe our membership is we are everything from rail lettering inside of an elevator to Times Square and the Vegas Strip. Every possible conceivable on-premise sign you can possibly imagine, our members do it.
Yeah, and you have an annual event as well. And obviously, your industry's going through a conversion to digital, clearly. I mean, that's why you're here at the DSE show.
Sure.
Tell us sort of like, what are the trends with regard to that?
Well, sign and graphics companies, we're a 75-year organization, and so signs have been around forever, right? And they are evolving with technology, and they're growing, and so you have everything from digital print to LEDs, and you name it, right? And so sign and graphics companies are getting more comfortable with digital signage technology and understand the value they can bring to their customers, because that ultimately is what we all need to do and want to do, is provide extra value and more relevant content for our customers.
You know, it's interesting because I think a lot of historical sign companies, you go back to the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, one of the benefits of working with a sign company like one of your members is that they also had the graphic design team that could actually design it for you if you didn't have the ability to do it. As you transition to digital, aren't these companies going to have to up their game a little bit, and how is that going? And
we are providing content and education for our members, helping them understand it's not just graphic design for the physical environment, it's a graphic environment for the digital environment in a physical world. And they have to understand that, and they know they need to understand that. And we are seeing the digital sign aspects of our show grow because the industry needs this content, and so it's really exciting time to be in the sign industry.
And what's nice about digital is that when normally back in the old days, when you pick up the sign, you're done with the customer until they come back to you. But now with digital, you can actually get a contract to maintain that network for them if they're forward thinking, right? I mean, that's where you want them to go, and that's why you're providing that education. Look, you have a show and an organization. You can learn all about it at signs.org, S-I-G-N-S.
Right, and at signexpo.org for our International Sign Expo.
Signexpo.org. Check it out, Lori. Thank you very much for dropping by here.
Absolutely, great to be here.
I appreciate it. We've got a lot more to cover here at DSE. The show's just started. It's only a few hours old, and you can see all of our coverage at ravepubs.com.
All right.
Hi, this is Gary K. We're here live at the DSE 2022 show. Again, here in Las Vegas, the first DSE show since 2019. And there are few people around the show floor that know more about the digital signage industry, and he knows more about everything. Danny Hagan. Danny, how are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you so much for having me.
You're with Signage Live. What does Signage Live do?
We are a top 5 content management system globally. We are a web-based engine. We're based in the UK, but we have a very big presence in APAC and the Americas, which I run.
So over the last decade, the key component for digital signage has moved from the player to the CMS.
Correct.
Right? And so that's because the player's now kind of just there, built in all the display systems, and it's also not the reason why we don't need to store the content the way we used to because of the internet and things. Explain sort of what happened over the last decade and where we are now.
That is a very complicated question for a non-technical human like myself. But I can say this for a fact: the player is still the key. For a fact, whether it's SoC or not. We're relying on that. We sell 0% hardware. We're really the only content management system company that is truly pure software. So we sell nothing direct. We have used the term agnostic, which is a confusing term for me to use when player selections, but we're refining that process from people who we like to work with, who are at the show today, for example, that are good at what they do, that have wonderful support, and most importantly, they're having stock that we can sell through the channel. So we're 100% channel as well. So it's not an easy transition to sell our software always, if you think about it that way, because every other content management system has a direct arm into the end user market.
Right.
We're 100% channel.
And that's a good thing, though, because if you're in the channel and you want to be supported by companies that are in the channel, so that there's no end around to get the product into the customer site. So that's a critical thing. But let's go back to sort of how this works. So a lot of the media players actually make CMSs. The reason why yours is better, in my opinion, is that that's all you do is a CMS. And you have the ability to make your CMS work on anybody's player. So if you've already purchased BrightSign, and then you want to also purchase, name any brand and tell whoever, as a player, you can, and you can still use the same CMS.
Fact. Here's a key component, and this may be a very interesting answer for you, how to respond to this. It all starts and stops with the culture of the company.
Right.
And why I'm saying that is we're very easy to work with, we're very good people, and we work alongside with their SOC. If it's a display that has an SOC, and or if, in your case, BrightSign, with BSN. We're compatible with all these things. So we're an API first engine to make life easy to communicate with. But be that as it may, we still are deeper integrated with these engines than anybody, and that's always our goal. Like, how can we be a good partner for you to go to market with through the channel, through a reseller, through a distributor? How can they communicate this easily? Because as you know, in our space, it gets so bogged down in features. Let's talk about the benefits. So the benefits of working with us is really the key in our company and culture, and through all our partners. Other than myself personally, they won't say a bad word about Signage Live. Yeah,
well, I think one advantage you have this moment in history is that because your CMS works on anybody's system, player, whether it's integrated SOC or not, you don't have any delivery problems. You don't have any supply chain issues.
We're ready to go.
Whatever you can get supply, you can drop your CMS on there, and it's going to work.
Yeah.
All right, so you can check them out at signagelive.com, signagelive.com. You do know a little bit about everything.
I do.
Did you know? This is a did you know
Okay,
section.
I'm ready.
Did you know that Tom Cruise actually flew the fighter airplanes, the fighter jets in Maverick?
100%.
It was not
Yeah.
CG.
So if we had a little more time, so one of our offices that I worked for in the past, VAR, I was a value-added reseller, for also competitors that were here, Software to Signage Live, filmed Mission Impossible. A lot of things are filmed in Vancouver. I have stories to tell about more actors and actresses in that city than you. You and I could talk forever about trivia and stuff like that.
But still, it's amazing that he actually learned how to fly.
He is the man.
Yeah, he is.
And he's going to space now to film this next movie.
Yeah, the deal was he wanted to go to space to do it. Like, what is he going to do next? Like, he might as well retire after that. Anyway, signagelive.com. Have you seen Maverick? Have you seen the movie?
Amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Should get the Academy Award, but won't because it's an action flick.
100% true.
It should get it. It won't because it's an action flick.
That's
what's terrible. But anyway, all right. You want to learn more about Signage Live? All you have to do is go to ravepubs.com, and our video and our search window, just type in Signage Live. We've recorded hundreds of videos over the years with them. Or you can go to signagelive.com, see all of our DSE coverage. Go to ravepubs.com, click on the DSE link.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, this is Gary Kay with rAVe. We're here at the DSE 2022 show on the show floor with our studio here in Las Vegas. It's the first DSE show since 2019. There's a keynote going on, so not as many people walking by here right now. So I grabbed Dave Weinfeld, I think Seinfeld, but with a W, Weinfeld, from Screenverse Media to come in here and talk to us. Tell them, Dave, who Screenverse Media is.
Yeah, thank you, Gary. So Screenverse focuses on the media management and monetization of digital screens in the physical world. Yep. So essentially when you think of screens in bars and restaurants, office buildings, luxury residential buildings,
we're need to hold your mic a little higher. There you go, perfect, go ahead.
Is we focus on how best can you monetize those, and a big part of that is how best do you monetize that via the programmatic channel.
That's critical because I believe that the future of digital signage is programmatic. I don't think it's going to be successful unless it is programmatic because these one-off, unless you're doing experiential. If you're doing experiential, that's a whole thing. these one-off applications where the ecosystem is selling itself isn't going to work unless the media buyers actually have access to it in programmatic. So in your case, an example of that might be, and this is a small example, but you can maybe expand it or explode it from that. When you're in a bar and you're watching sports, the wrapper that's in there, is that being driven from programmatic potentially through Screenverse Media, or give me an example?
Yeah, so we actually have the largest network in bars and restaurants nationwide. That's our partner TouchTunes.
Yeah, okay.
So I think 50,000 plus jukeboxes in every DMA across the US. So their core business is music, and they do an incredible job with it. But those endpoints are really valuable media real estate.
Because they're sitting there and people are staring at it.
And people are in those bars and restaurants for 60 to 90 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
And our role in supporting TouchTunes as a business is, how do we bring monetization by way of advertising to those screens? And so much of that is working with beer and spirits companies like Heineken, Anheuser-Busch, but the programmatic side and working with partners like Vistar Media, Place Exchange, allows us to access budgets that we otherwise couldn't have accessed.
Right, so meaning smaller budgets or bigger budgets?
Bigger budgets.
Okay, bigger budgets, all right. And are you working on collaborating to bring a bunch of different opportunities together? Because when you look at like individual business owners, they can't do this on their own. You're collaborating to pull them together, I'm guessing, into one network, and they're feeding the content to them all at the same time because you get more eyeballs as a collaboration than individually? Is that how that works?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
So we really look at it as a Screenverse universe.
Okay.
So a portfolio of networks who largely aren't media businesses at their core. So TouchTunes is a great example. We also have a partner, Pursuant Health, that is in every Walmart pharmacy nationwide.
Okay, I got you.
We have a partner called The Bulletin that has 2,000 plus screens in luxury residential. And you're right, it would be difficult for each of those networks to individually try to sell themselves to agencies, and then you get into the world of programmatic, where you have demand-side platforms like The Trade Desk and Google and others. And so what we're able to do is offer a single point of contact, incredible service, as well as that one unified point where you could access high-value curated inventory in a way that accelerates the monetization these networks could see.
How did they find you? Like, I mean, I'm a hospital, I just put in a big digital signage network. How do you even know that you exist? Like, I got to get lucky and somebody knows about the advertising industry, or is there a place that they register all these signs and you leverage that registration database, or how does this work?
Yeah, so great question. So one of the advantages when I started Screenverse is that I had led the supply-side sales team at Vistar Media for about 2.5 years. So I had an inside look at exactly what type of networks needed this support. So when I spun out of Vistar, I immediately said to their CEO, I'm going to be a client and partner. That's exactly what we are today, but it created that natural progression of networks within that ecosystem to find us. And the great thing is we get referrals from our friends at Vistar, our friends at Place Exchange. Word of mouth is incredibly powerful. But I also have to add the caveat that not every network is a fit, right? Really have to look at it and say, what's their scale? What's the business model? Do they have screens that are...
Like a single dentist office isn't going to work, but if you're part of a network of hundreds of dentists, you got more eyeballs with it's all based on numbers, right? It's a numbers game.
It's numbers, value of network, it's the leadership team behind that network, understanding their capital structure, and in many cases, what's great is if the network itself is providing value to the property and the audience, and that's really delivering, then there's an opportunity to bring in monetization. And so what we really do, and for those networks that we don't partner with, we say no more than we say yes today.
Wow.
But for those networks we don't partner with, we give them advice and say, hey, when you're up at a larger scale or you've installed more screens, then let's talk again.
Keep registering them so that we have access to the database when the database is large enough.
That's right.
Yeah, and so you can check them out at screenversemedia.com, right? I get that right? Screenversemedia.com.
That's exactly right.
David Weinfeld, thank you very much for dropping by here.
Thank you, Gary.
If you want to learn more, go to screenversemedia.com. And that's a good reason for you to keep up with all these digital installs that you're doing, because you never know when you're going to have enough out there that you can take advantage of programmatic advertising, which is huge. So thanks for joining us. Of course, if you want to learn more, go to screenversemedia.com or go to ravepubs.com and watch all of our digital signage Experience 2022 content.